Hello people, and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Top failed XRP price predictions of 2025 by popular analysts. Okay guys, let's get into it. Okay, so I wanted to cover this because I think this is something that, XRP holders need to see, because this is a thing where you can start to see who are the influencers who, are making these outrageous claims, and who are the ones who've been building up a following based on, let's just be honest, just inaccurate information, clearly and evidently. And then I also want to just show you why some of these influencers do this kind of stuff, because I think you just need to understand that there's a lot more at play than people just making price predictions for some of this, right? So I'm going to go through this. I think you should stick with me for this one, because this is going to be a good video. So, okay, let's get straight into it. So we got here, according to King Vale, the following end of year predictions did not play out. Now, King Vale, he's a influencer who I'm aware of. Not someone who I really watch that much myself personally, but I believe he believes in like the really high price figures for XRP as well. But as far as I'm aware, I don't believe he made any price predictions for last year, but I do believe he believes in like the hype numbers and stuff. But anyway, he was basically calling out these influencers, which, as I say, like if he believes in the hype stuff, then he's kind of part of it. It's just that maybe he's not made a prediction, but fair enough. Let's just go with what he's saying here. So we've got Jake Claver predicted $750 by the year end. Chad Steingraber, $250 by the year end. Crypto Sensei predicted $5,769 by the year end. Time Traveler predicted $73,000 by the year end. Jack the Rippler, $100 by the year end. Remy Relief, $1,000 to $1,200 by the year end. And Sistine Research, $37 to $50 by the year end. Okay, so none of those come true. The one that I will just give a bit of grace here to, if I'll be honest with you, Sistine Research, $37 to $50. If let's just say we had a proper alt season the way we were supposed to, $37 to $50 is not an unrealistic price target, to be honest with you. So while that didn't come true, it's not like an outrageous claim, to be completely honest. So for me personally, that one I can actually kind of give a bit of a pass with in that regard, but it didn't come true, right? Okay, so we've got a lot here. Oh yeah, just a quick honorable shout out as well to Zach Rector, who claimed XRP would be, I think he also said $750. It was either $750 or maybe like $500, but he definitely claimed that XRP was going to be triple digits, the high triple digits by the end of 2025, which was clearly incorrect as well. So look, the thing for me with this is, people might think that I'm here just being like negative. This isn't about calling out the influencers, to be honest with you. It's about the actual investors, because that's who it's about protecting, guys. Like, this is for the people who are watching these guys or hearing this kind of content from these influencers. And because this is the thing, right? What happens with a lot of these claims, right? A lot of these predictions get made very early on in the year, and then by the end of the year, they're forgotten, right? And they've already built up the following, and because they really want it to be true as well, they'll just continue to follow whatever excuse these influencers make. But there's a lot of people out here who are maybe new investors, or people who are actually a bit more open-minded, where if you get, fed certain information, you might say, oh, I wasn't aware of that. Maybe I changed my stance now on XRP or whatever. So this is just more trying to show you guys, like, these are influencers who have made these huge assertions, these huge claims, and they've been incorrect. So whether you want to choose to listen to them or not going forward, completely up to you, but just letting you know they're incorrect. Now, people can say, well, yes, okay, they got it wrong, but they're trying to figure it out. Okay, but I'll say this, for me as a channel, I've been doing this for 3 years now. I've never once made a price prediction. Not once. And the reason being is because I know that I'm guessing, right? I can say, okay, maybe it could hit this, but I don't know for sure. So I won't come on this channel and say to you guys, I think XRP will hit this price by this date. I just won't do it. Now, what I will do is I'll listen to, for example, influencers who make these claims, or chart analysts who make these claims, and then I'll tell you what I think about that, because that's just giving my opinion as to whether I think that's realistic or not. But I'm not going to say, yes, this is going to happen, or give a kind of price prediction personally. I'm just not going to do that, right? So this is the thing, okay? you've got these influencers who have all been completely incorrect, right? As I say, your choice as to whether you want to listen to them or not. But as I say, some of you guys might think, well, okay, but these guys are just making their own assumption. These guys are just making their own claims based on what they believe. Okay, maybe you want to believe that. The thing that I will say here is I do think for like many of these guys, I can't obviously say which ones because I don't know for sure. But I do think for many of these guys, this is just engagement. This is just, they know it gets views. They know it's going to attract attention to them. And they do it to get a following. So I'm just going to show you a couple of things here to just kind of back up my point. So I've just got a search here on XRP. And first and foremost, I just want to quickly show you this. It's not going to take too long, but you can see here, the first thing on my screen, you've got this guy, you know, hands in face, like very shocked. You've then got another influencer here, you know, pointing at a screen, shocked face. Let's just scroll down just a little bit more. Again, holding the face, you know, shocked. Here you go, hands on the head, absolutely shocked. Like, I'll tell you this now, and you guys might be familiar with this, but this is a common marketing tactic. And you know, when I see this, it's quite funny because, like, I look at it and I know exactly what they're doing. I know exactly what it is, but it looks silly. But the thing is, it works. It does work, evidently, because you can see it, right? You can see these guys get views. They're quite high up in the search algorithm, the search results. So this kind of stuff does attract viewers. Like doing a shocked face and then just putting a very clickbait title. It works. It intrigues people. It's, you know, what's the shock about? For me, I can just look at it clearly and say, you're clearly using this as a tactic to draw people in. I know exactly what it is, so I just kind of find it for what it is. I just find it silly personally, but I can't knock it if it works. That's the thing. And this is what I'm trying to make you guys understand. For these influencers, this is a business to them. So when they're doing these like titles, you know, the way they'll word their titles or the way they'll do their thumbnails with the shocked face and, you know, like they can't believe what's going on, and, you know, like the actual content they make where they talk about these complete fantasy things about XRP and stuff like that. This is a business for them. This is stuff that's going to make them earn a living, because many YouTubers, they're living off YouTube. If you get enough views from YouTube, you can live off of YouTube. That is possible. So you've got to understand, for many of these people, like, this is their career. And so I want to show you an influencer, and I've done this before, like I've mentioned it before, but I just want to show you the aftermath of what's happened here. But it's not that I'm trying to call him out, because I actually respect what he's done, but it's just to show you the impact and as to why these influencers, they probably won't stop doing this kind of stuff, because I've got evidence of what happens here. So you've got here a guy called Lewis Jackson, okay? Lewis Jackson is a very, very big YouTuber, or I don't mean this to sound disrespectful, you might say was a big YouTuber. So he's got 157,000 subscribers, okay? I want to just show you his content from even just a year ago. So we've got here 23,000 views, 32,000 views, 10,000 views, 30,000 views, 36,000 views, 12,000 views, 11,000 views, 28,000 views, 31,000 views, 452,000 views, 14,000 views, and 24,000 views. Now, all of those videos were XRP specific. For you guys who are familiar with Lewis Jackson, you know he was specifically covering XRP content. That's how he got well known. For the guys who don't know, now you do. He got very big following in XRP content, and he used to believe in like the $10,000 stuff, right? Now, he then did a video, and you could start to see his opinion shifting about XRP hitting $10,000. You could like see him starting to say things on his channel about, like, you know, XRP being a lot more grounded with his price targets. You've got a video here addressing what changed about my view of XRP. So he basically did just come out and say, like, he basically explained why he no longer believes XRP is going to hit $10,000. And he started to do like really in-depth analysis as to why he doesn't think it's going to happen. Like, he did some real long videos about it and went into a lot of detail. And he caught a lot of backlash for it. You know, a lot of people was calling him a flip-flopper and a traitor and all that kind of stuff. But Lewis said, like, look, I've learnt new information. I've done my own research. I've looked into this enough to now not believe that this stuff is realistic anymore. Like $10,000 for XRP just isn't realistic anymore. And he did catch a lot of heat for it. He did. And so he's eventually moved on from that now. And he's doing videos not just based on XRP, but on other things too. So I just want to show you what his views are like now. 4,600 views, 3,700 views, 2,700 views, 4,300 views, 2,300 views, 5,100 views, 3,500 views, and 3,000 views. So you can see the huge change in his viewership, right? Now, one thing I will say is we can all acknowledge that, okay, maybe a lot of the subscribers he got was specifically for XRP content, right? So maybe it's a thing now where some of the subscribers he has are like, well, if it's not about XRP, I don't really care. I can acknowledge that. But for how many subscribers he has, the drop shouldn't be this big. It shouldn't. What's happened is because now he's changed his stance on XRP and is no longer promoting the $10,000 stuff, they've come away from him. They've come away from him. That's what's happened. And so I've watched his videos since, and his content's still good. Like he does do a lot of research on the stuff that he puts out. Now, whether it's accurate and stuff like that, obviously that depends on what the content is, that kind of thing. So I'm not going to get into that. But he definitely hasn't changed his video production style or anything like that. His content's still the same. So this huge drop in viewership, it shouldn't have been impacted to this degree. Like when you can see how much views he was getting for the XRP content. And the reason why I'm showing you this is just because what I'm trying to show you is if these influencers were to ever try and maybe say anything that was somewhat realistic about XRP, like they could have behind the scenes had a thing where they've secretly started to think, this $10,000 stuff, it's just not realistic. But this is what happens when you do that. This is what happens to your channel. And I'm a prime example of what happens when you come out making a channel not promoting the $10,000 stuff at all. Like I come out from the very beginning of my channel saying that $10,000 isn't going to happen. And you can look at the growth of my channel. I'm a very small channel. I've been around for 3 years now. I've got 2,200 subscribers. Minimal. Absolutely tiny. And I don't grow because one, people don't really want to hear this stuff. They don't want to hear the boring reality of XRP. And two, a lot of people actually try and affect my channel because they believe in the $10,000 stuff. So whenever I'm saying anything that's against that, they attack my channel. Like they actually try to sabotage my channel. So, I get hit on both ends because, my thumbnails are very realistic. I'm not really giving hype thumbnails. The news that I give is very honest. It's just very, fact based. I'm not just doing conspiracy theories and stuff like that. And, I do get into it sometimes with commenters. I have commenters coming in and attacking me on my channel. So I defend myself, I argue back. And sometimes, if they're disrespectful to me, I get a bit disrespectful back. I'll be honest, I'm human. But it leads to, issues because then they start attacking my channel, right? And so the point that I'm just trying to show you here is that for a lot of these influencers, they're not going to do this stuff. Even if they started to not believe $10,000, you're not going to know it because they're not going to tell you because you can see the difference here in viewership. And that's a huge dent to a YouTuber's career. That type of drop that Lewis has had to take now from what he was getting last year to now, how much he's getting paid for views now, it's going to be a huge drop. Now, I'm assuming Lewis is probably, in a position where he can afford to do this. I'm assuming he's probably invested his money and stuff like that. He's got a business and things like that. So he's probably okay. But still, it's a huge change. And many people, I think, will just be like, why would I do that? Why would I affect my money and start saying realistic things? So it does come down to integrity as well. And that's why I will say with Lewis, I give it to him. He's got integrity. He was willing to sacrifice his viewership. I'm not sure if he knew he'd drop the way it has, as bad as it has, but he's been willing to take that risk to tell the truth. And I respect that. Same for me. I'm integrity. I came in from the beginning. I didn't bother just trying to fish for views by doing hype content. I'll come out straight away saying $10,000 ain't going to happen. And you can see where my channel is because of that. And I think this is the thing with influencers, right? I feel like it's a bit of an inflated ego, and I think it's a bit misguided. I think a lot of people feel like the content is based on whether, it's good or not because of how many subscribers they have. But what you've got to understand is, to get subscribers in crypto, all you really need to do is say things that people want to hear. So it's not really got to be necessarily based on how good your content is. It's really based on what is it that you're saying. Like, are you saying what the masses want to hear? Like I've seen someone put a video out saying you only need 1 XRP to get rich. That's just completely ridiculous. But that got a load of views. It got like 40,000 views. Of course. If people see that, of course they're going to want to believe that. And of course they're going to be thinking, yeah, I'm going to be a multimillionaire then. I've got like 100 XRP, or I've got 1,000 XRP. So man, I'm going to be a billionaire. I'm going to be, they want to believe all these things. So this is what I'm just showing you guys. Like, with these failed predictions, just understand that for a lot of these guys, they will probably continue to push more narratives. They will probably continue to push more price predictions. Why? Because it gets engagement. That's it. If they keep putting these things out, and all they have to do is make excuses, like a lot of these people, when they've built up enough of a following, even if they lose some of their followers, they start to get like a core fan base. And once you've got a core fan base, it doesn't really matter, because they're going to just follow you. Unless you do something really bad, they're just going to continue to follow you. So you have your fickle followers, and then you have your core fan base. Your fickle followers can come and go. They might just get bored of hearing your content, or you get it wrong, so then they start following you. Those are fickle. They're just, they're not necessarily following you because they're a core fan of you, right? But once you get a core fan base, they kind of like you as well. So while they do like the content, they also like you as a person, so they're kind of supporting you. And so they'll stand by you and they'll defend you and that kind of thing. That's how it works. So they can afford to lose the fickle supporters, because they will probably lose the fickle supporters in some other way anyway, right? But the core fan base, they're the ones who, if they stand by them, they'll be okay. They will be okay. So, yeah, I'm just showing you this because I'm trying to show you like how big of a thing this is for influencers in terms of views and how it works. Like, I'm just trying to show you the inner workings of how, the impact can be of just changing your content. And Lewis is a prime example of someone who's, yes, he's not talking about XRP as much, so I can understand that would be a drop in views, but for 157,000 subscribers, and just to see what type of views he was getting before, that's a huge drop. It's crazy how big that drop is. And that's because he's not saying what the people want to hear anymore. And that's what I'm saying, like, his content hasn't changed. It's not like he's suddenly putting out really bad content or anything like that, or the quality's changed or anything. It's just because now he's not saying what people want to hear. So they'll just move on to the other people who are saying things that they want to hear. And this is what I'm trying to show you guys for these influencers. It's deeper than wanting to even tell the truth, because they can see how bad they'll be impacted. They know what will happen. So they will just continue to post positive content about XRP because their money is on the line. Their career is on the line. A lot of these people, they're living off of YouTube. They don't want to go to work. They don't want to go and do a job. Like, YouTube is paying them good. So they will continue to do the hype posts. They will continue to do the clickbait. They'll continue to do the crazy thumbnails because they want to keep the money going. So I'm just trying to show you this as to how it works. But yeah, guys, like, just understand, like, they don't have your best interest at heart. A lot of them are just doing this as a career to make money for themselves. That's just what it is. Like, there's people out there who, they don't even like hold XRP anymore, but they still do video content about it. I've heard about these things going on. So just be wary, because not everyone is, doing this for the right reasons. A lot of them are doing it just to make money. And you saw there was many failed predictions, and some of them were insane, like $73,000. Come on, man. Like, that's absolute insanity. And this is the kind of stuff that I just want to try and get us to move away from, because it's just going to lead people down a bad path. So that's all I got to say on this. I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for watching this. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit that bell. Take care.